In the quiet depths of ancient India, long before the rise of cities and the noise of modern life, there were those who sought something beyond the surface of existence. Not gods of myth, nor saints of blind faith, but explorers of the inner world, seers who turned their gaze inward and discovered something extraordinary. They spoke of a sacred energy, coiled like a serpent at the base of the spine, sleeping but alive. This force, known as Kundalini, was not just energy. It was consciousness itself, waiting to awaken. They were the siddhas, the yogis, the tantrikas, masters of subtle forces, who passed their knowledge in whispers and symbols, in breath and silence. They did not seek approval from the world. They did not build temples. Their temple was the human body. Their altar was the breath. And their sacred fire was Kundalini, the flame that does not burn with smoke, but with awareness. To awaken this fire was not a ritual, it was a revolution of being. But what is this inner flame? And why does it matter now, in our age of distraction and endless noise? Because this flame still burns inside you, because the ancient knowledge was never lost. It was only forgotten. In every restless thought, in every moment of longing for something more, something real, this energy is calling you to remember who you truly are. Not just a mind, not just a body, but a being of light and power, asleep in a dream of limitation. Before we go deeper, take a moment. If your heart resonates with this, write in the comments, "The fire within me is ready to rise." That affirmation alone is a beginning. And if you feel the spark, support this channel. Subscribe, like this video, and share it with someone who is ready to awaken. Your support helps keep this wisdom alive and growing. The word Kundalini appears in ancient texts like the Upanishads and the Yoga Kundalini Upanishad, yet its roots are even older. In tantric scriptures, such as the Shiva Samhita and the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, Kundalini is described not merely as energy, but as the mother of the universe sleeping within the individual. The serpent, curled 3.5 times, represents latent power, Shakti waiting to reunite with Shiva, the consciousness at the crown of the head. But these are not just metaphors. For those who have touched it, even for a moment, the experience is undeniable. It begins as heat, as vibration, as a stillness so deep that time disappears. As it rises, the mind quiets, thoughts dissolve, and in their place, a vast intelligence awakens. The yogis did not worship this energy. They became it. They learned to ride the wave of inner fire through breath, discipline, and surrender. Kundalini Yoga, in its original form, was never meant to be a performance or a quick escape. It was a precise science of transformation, designed to dismantle everything false within us. It breaks through the blocks we've built with our fears, traumas, and illusions. The ego resists because the ego cannot survive pure light. But for those who persist, what awaits is not madness, it is freedom. You have been taught to fear this energy, to keep it locked away. Perhaps you've heard that it is dangerous. But ask yourself, what is more dangerous? The power that liberates you, or the ignorance that keeps you asleep? The inner flame does not destroy the mind, it transcends it. It reveals that the mind is a tool, not a master. That thoughts are not who you are. That your true self is luminous, infinite, and free. In many spiritual traditions, this flame is hinted at through different names. In Christianity, the Holy Spirit descending as fire. In Taoism, the cultivation of internal energy. In Sufism, the burning love that consumes the ego. All point to the same source, the divine spark within. But nowhere is it mapped as clearly as in the yogic tradition, with its chakras, nadis, and breathwork. This is not mythology. It is a roadmap to liberation. The chakras are not fantasy. They are energetic centers, real and perceivable by those who train their inner senses. When Kundalini rises, it activates these centers like lamps being lit one by one, illuminating not only the body, but the psyche, the emotions, and the soul. Each chakra holds both a wound and a gift, and the flame rises not in a straight line, but in waves, clearing, purifying, revealing. Some feel it as fire, others as light, others as sound. But all speak of one thing, a sense of being completely awake for the first time. The illusion of separation begins to fall away. The walls between self and world dissolve. You begin to feel life not as something happening to you, but as something moving through you. The breath becomes sacred. The silence becomes alive. This is not always easy. In truth, it rarely is. Awakening the flame is not just about bliss. It is about truth, and truth burns. It exposes. It purges. You may find yourself crying without knowing why. You may feel old fears rise up to be seen. But this is the fire doing its work. It is not punishing you. It is freeing you. And every time you stay present through the discomfort, the flame grows stronger. Those who have walked this path left us clues. They said, "Do not seek the flame outside. Seek it within." They said, "You are not the body, but the energy that animates it. You are not the mind, but the stillness behind it." And they said this, "When the fire rises, let go. Trust the intelligence of life. It knows what it is doing. You do not have to force it. You have to allow it." The practices they left behind are not superstition. They are doorways. Breathwork, or pranayama, is one such doorway. Through specific rhythms and patterns of breath, you learn to still the mind, to balance the nervous system, and to awaken the dormant energy at the base of the spine. Breath becomes the bridge between the unconscious and the conscious, between the seen and the unseen. It is sacred. And then comes bandha, the internal locks. These are muscular contractions applied during breath retention, designed to guide the energy upward. Mula bandha at the perineum, Uddiyana bandha at the belly, and Jalandhara bandha at the throat. Together they channel the flame through the central channel of the spine, the Sushumna Nadi, piercing through the chakras like a lightning bolt. The ancient yogis mapped this path not to control it, but to serve it. They saw themselves not as the doer, but as the vessel. The ego could never awaken Kundalini. Only surrender could. They taught through presence, through silence, through vibration. Their wisdom still echoes if we are quiet enough to hear it, if we are willing to let go of what we think we know. There is a moment in every true seeker's path when the mind can no longer lead. Its logic becomes too narrow. Its answers feel hollow. The questions themselves dissolve, and in that silent space, something ancient stirs. That is when the inner flame begins to rise, not because we willed it, but because we surrendered to it. Kundalini does not respond to ambition. It responds to sincerity, to readiness, to the soul's quiet cry for truth. In that moment, time loosens its grip. Past and future collapse into the eternal now. The breath deepens, the heartbeat slows. The body may tremble. Light may dance behind closed eyes. These are not hallucinations. They are the body remembering its divine nature. They are signs that the illusion is beginning to crack. The flame is not burning you. It is revealing you. But with revelation comes responsibility. You cannot walk through fire and remain the same. Once the veil is lifted, you cannot pretend to be blind again. The world may look the same, but you no longer move through it as before. You begin to see people not as roles or faces, but as energies, as souls carrying their own flames, some dormant, some flickering, some roaring like suns. And you begin to live from a different place. Not from reaction, but from presence. This presence is the goal of all true yoga. Not just postures, not just flexibility, but union. The word yoga means to yoke, to join, to become one. And the flame of Kundalini is the force that makes this union possible. It rises from the earth of your being and reaches toward the sky of your consciousness, joining the finite and the infinite in the temple of your body. You become the bridge. You become the fire. Some traditions warn that awakening Kundalini prematurely can cause imbalance, and this is true. Without preparation, without grounding, the intensity can be overwhelming. That is why the old masters emphasized purification first, through diet, discipline, meditation, and service, not as dogma, but as protection. The cleaner the vessel, the smoother the current, the clearer the mind, the gentler the fire. But fear should not stop you. Respect it, yes. Approach it with humility, yes. But never forget, this energy is your birthright. It is not foreign. It is not imposed. It is you. The deeper truth is this: you do not awaken Kundalini. Kundalini awakens you. It is already awake. It is you who are dreaming. And when it rises, the dream begins to break. The illusion begins to fall away. The serpent is a symbol for a reason. It is ancient, primal, and wise. In cultures around the world, the serpent represents transformation, shedding old skin, moving through darkness to reach the light. In Kundalini Yoga, this serpent lies at the base of the spine, guarding the doorway to the infinite. She does not move unless invited, but once she moves, everything changes. The ego trembles in her presence. The false self begins to collapse. But something deeper emerges, a self that is not constructed, but eternal. A self that has no name, no form, yet contains all things. This is what the ancient yogis meant by liberation, not escape from life, but awakening within it. Not detachment from the world, but union with its sacred core. And yet, for all its power, Kundalini is profoundly intimate. It does not need temples. It does not need crowds. It moves in silence, in solitude, in surrender. It comes when you are ready to meet yourself without masks. It comes when you stop running, when you sit with your breath, your pain, your longing, and listen. Not to the noise of the world, but to the flame whispering within. Many people search for meaning in books, in teachers, in systems. But the flame cares nothing for dogma. It cares only for truth. You may study for years, but a single breath in presence can reveal more than 1,000 pages. You may chant 1,000 mantras, but one moment of surrender can ignite the fire. This is not a call to abandon discipline, but to remember its purpose, to return you to yourself. In the yogic view, the central channel, the sushumna, runs along the spine. On either side flow the Ida and Pingala, the lunar and solar energies. Most people live caught between these two, swinging between desire and fear, action and rest. But when the flame rises through the sushumna, a third way opens, a path beyond duality, a state of pure awareness. This is where the mind surrenders and the soul begins to speak. You may begin to perceive subtle sounds, what the yogis called the inner nada, bells, flutes, hums, not external, but internal. These are signs that the flame is active. You may feel tingling along the spine, heat in the crown, or expansion in the heart. These are not to be chased, but honored. They are invitations, clues, openings. But the real transformation happens in silence. As the flame rises, so does your ability to perceive reality as it truly is, not filtered through conditioning, but naked, alive, sacred. You begin to sense the intelligence in every leaf, the presence in every stone. You begin to feel connected to all beings, not as theory, but as lived truth. Compassion arises not from effort, but from recognition. You are no longer separate. And yet, this process is not linear. There are days of clarity and days of confusion, moments of bliss followed by darkness. This is normal. The fire works in cycles. It rises, it clears, it integrates. Do not rush it. Do not compare. Each soul's awakening is unique. What matters is not speed, but depth, not fireworks, but transformation. Stay with it. Trust it. The ego will try to return. It will whisper doubts. It will seek control. But once the flame has touched you, the game changes. You may fall, but you will not fall asleep again. The memory of truth lingers. The taste of silence stays. And each time you return to the breath, to the stillness, the great sages who walked before us did not speak lightly of this path. They knew its power, its dangers, and its promise. They knew that to awaken Kundalini is not to gain a power, but to dissolve the illusion of the one who seeks power. They taught not to dominate the energy, but to bow before it, not to use it for personal ambition, but to allow it to burn away the very roots of ego. For in the end, the flame gives nothing. It only takes, until nothing remains but truth. The fire is not interested in who you think you are. It is not moved by titles, achievements, or identities. It burns through them all. It seeks only the real, the part of you that existed before the mind formed, before the body grew, before the first breath. It seeks the seed of the soul, the eternal witness that watches silently behind all thoughts and forms. And when it finds it bows, and then it rises. This is not mythology. This is not metaphor. It is experience. And those who have touched it cannot unsee it. The ancient texts, the Upanishads, the Tantras, the Sutras, all point to this inner fire, but they do not give it to you. They only describe its taste. The rest is up to you. You must walk the path. You must face the fire, and you must be willing to be changed by it. In the beginning, it feels like you are being burned. Your beliefs, attachments, wounds, they all rise to the surface. You may question your sanity. You may lose your bearings. But slowly, a new foundation forms, one not built on thought, but on silence, not on identity, but on presence. And from this presence, a different kind of life emerges, a life not driven by fear, but by love. The body becomes a temple. The breath becomes a prayer. Every moment becomes an offering. You begin to see beauty where you once saw nothing. You begin to feel gratitude for pain, for loss, for the simple fact of being alive. Not because life becomes easy, but because it becomes real, awake, sacred. This is the flame's gift. It does not change the world around you. It changes the one who sees it. You may still walk through darkness, but now you carry light. You may still face challenges, but now you meet them from stillness. The fire does not remove your humanity, it refines it. It makes you more alive, more present, more capable of love. Not the love that clings or possesses, but the love that liberates, that sees the soul in all things, that serves without seeking reward. This is the true power of Kundalini, not to control reality, but to align with it, to dissolve the barrier between the self and the source. To let go of who you think you are and become who you truly are, limitless, luminous, free. This is the flame that transcends the mind. It is not something you find. It is something you uncover. It was always there, hidden beneath the noise. All spiritual practice, in the end, is preparation for this unveiling. Whether through meditation, mantra, breathwork, or devotion. Each step is a way of softening, surrendering, becoming receptive. Until one day, the flame no longer waits. It rises. And in its rising, you remember. Not as a thought, but as a knowing. Not as a belief, but as a truth beyond words. There will be no trumpet, no grand announcement, just silence. A silence so deep it swallows you. And in that silence, you see clearly. You are not the mind. You are not the body. You are not even the one who seeks. You are the flame itself, eternal, untouched, unchanging. Watching this dream called life unfold, yet never bound by it. So if you feel the stirrings within, follow them. If you feel the call, answer it. Sit with your breath. Listen to the silence. Trust the flame. Let it guide you home, not to a place, but to a state of being where nothing is missing and everything is sacred. If this message speaks to something deep within you, take a moment now, breathe, and write in the comments, "I am ready for the fire within me to awaken." Let these words be your signal to the universe. Let them mark the beginning of your inner transformation. If you found resonance in these words, like this video, it helps this wisdom reach others who are also on the path. Subscribe to Legends of Soul for more journeys into ancient truths and timeless awakening. And share this with someone who might need to hear it. Because the flame spreads not by force, but by recognition. One soul lighting another. This is not the end. This is the beginning of something real. The flame awaits.